All right, hello, astronauts out there. I had originally shot an unboxing video for the Celestron 9 1/4 Edge HD, but the video was terrible. The audio was terrible and the lighting was terrible, so I shot a new video for unboxing. And there we go, it's unboxed. So I've had this thing for a few weeks now, and it was a bit of a learning curve because I didn't know much at all about the SCTs. I didn't know how vital the back focus was. I didn't know how to mitigate the mirror shifting by the way you focus it, you know, a little bit clockwise and then come back counterclockwise to make sure you're pushing out on it and that supports it more as it's moving across the sky. I decided to just use my regular guide scope. Everybody is always saying that you have to do off-axis guiding on these because the mirror flop is too bad. I haven't noticed much of a problem. The clutches on the Edge HD seem to mitigate the mirror flop, and I haven't noticed any image shifting, anything that's messing up my data. The clouds have been primarily what's messing up my data. It's just been cloudy. It's been awful. I've had like 2 good nights, and those were both fumbling around with this thing because I didn't understand, how to use it. But I've gathered some good data, and I'll show you those images in a minute. But overall, I've been extremely impressed with this telescope, and I'm excited to push it to its limits. I'll be shooting with the 70 Mark II. This has a full spectrum modification, and I've got an astronomic clip-in, the L2 filter in there to cut out the absurd wavelengths. So we're just getting the good stuff. So I got this from OPT Corp. They were really good. I got this and a few other things from Highpoint Scientific. That was awesome. I got the full spectrum modification from Life Pixel. They were awesome. I got the guide scope and guide camera. This is an Orion Starshoot Pro monochrome guide camera and their 50mm guide scope. Got those from Orion. But yeah, so far the system has worked pretty well. I have not tried the reducer much. I've just been shooting at the native focal length. Because the reducer will be easier, obviously, because it's wider. I want to see how well my CEGE is able to track at the, do some deep sky objects at, what is it, like 2,300 millimeters. So that, that's a deep look, and my CGE has been tracking it pretty well. I've had to be a little more careful with things like balance, making sure my scope is balanced the right way so the backlash is settled against the right side of the teeth, because one night I had it balanced so it was sitting on the windward side, so the little puffs of wind were opening up the backlash a little bit and just wreaking havoc with the images. So I balanced it toward the other side, so it was just a light breeze. It was like a 5-mile-per-hour wind, but so that when it was hitting my scope, it was already pushed against the teeth and it wasn't messing up the images. The focusing has been really easy on this thing. I made a Batinov mask out of the top of a 5-gallon lid, and I used to use that on my Newtonian. It works great on this. I've been able to lock in focus, and I haven't had to readjust the focus all night. I came out, at 2 o'clock in the morning after the temperature had dropped 10 degrees, and the focus was still very acceptable. I haven't had to mess with it much. But yeah, I've been super happy with this telescope. Talk is cheap, as they say, so let's look at some of the results. the CGE handled it very well, much better than it handles my Newtonian, because it's so compact, you know, all the weight's in one place. It's not flopping all over the place like that big metal tube. Okay, so we are set up for the most part, but we are hitting our first snag. My original, or my Orion 50mm guide scope does not seem to be compatible with the finder scope bracket that it came with. My guide scope is a lot shorter. I want to see if I can figure something out here. Just because this is the only way I can polar align. I use the guide scope for polar alignment, so I'm going to have to get it hooked up here. First check. Alright, so I kind of just jammed my old guide scope into the new bracket. It's a little floppy, but it might work just to test things. Seems to be guiding alright. But I'm doing some exposures now on the Whirlpool Galaxy, and I'm going to see how it comes out. Alright, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm out here taking some flats. The subs looked really good. Towards the end of the night, they started to look a little bit oblong to one side. I don't know if that was mirror flop or guiding. I don't know. I need to go back and look at the PHD2 data. But I'm really hopeful. Okay, so here's the first target I was able to get any kind of significant amount of integration on. This is M51, obviously. Pretty happy with the detail here, and the modified 7D really picked up the pink in the little blobs of the hydrogen gas. I don't know how well it's going to come through on YouTube, but yeah, the star shape was great. A little disappointed in the signal. The moon was kind of bright. I wish I would have picked up more of the gas in those long trailing arms. But yeah, I'm going to play with it some more, obviously. But yeah, really happy with the detail, and overall that was pretty good. That's 5 hours on the Edge, or I'm sorry, on 5 hours in the Edge on the Whirlpool Galaxy. Okay, this next target was only about, I think it was only about 45 minutes because of the clouds on the Fireworks Galaxy, and this star field just highlights dramatically how well the Edge HD 925 performs edge to edge. That is an uncropped APS-C size sensor, and you know, if it wasn't for dust motes, I wouldn't even had to shoot flats with this thing. You could easily generate an artificial flat to take care of all the vignetting, because it really illuminates the sensor, and just, you know, they don't call it edge to edge. It's called the Edge HD because way out on the edge of the sensor, the stars are still beautiful, beautiful color. Just everything really pops in these wide star fields, these deep star fields with the Edge HD. Really happy with the way this came out. I'm excited to get more data on this target. Now these next two images were from an ill-fated night a couple nights ago, and the clouds just wouldn't let up. They wouldn't break. They were supposed to break, but they didn't. So here, this was like 20 minutes on the Crab Nebula, but again, you can see just the way it really just penetrates that star field and produces a beautiful image from one end of the sensor to the other. Really pleased with it. Really excited to get more data on targets like this. And here we have the Owl Nebula. This was about 2 hours, but the 7D really picks up the color nicely, and you know, there's not much to say about this other than it was a bad night, and I wanted to get a lot more data on both of those targets, but just didn't happen. Alright, so there you have it. Overall, I could not be happier with this telescope. Collimation is mind-numbingly easy once you figure out how to do it. You just open this up, turn 3 little screws to make your donut even, and that's it. You don't need to mess with the primary. So really simple. The performance has been fantastic. I cannot recommend this scope highly enough. There were a few other options I was thinking about. I thought about the Esprit 100 ED. I thought about the Rasa 11 inch. And both of those are very good at what they do, but they only do the one thing, you know. And the Edge 9 1/4 looked really attractive because of its flexibility, you know. I will eventually get a Hyperstar for it. And I wanted to be able to do solar system because that's what really gets my kids going, and that's important to me to be able to, you know, watch them freak out when they see Jupiter and things like that. So that's a big reason I went with the Edge 9 1/4 because it's flexible. But yeah, I hope this video helps you if you need to make a decision about a scope. She's a beauty.